going on, everybody, and welcome to my review of episode 10 of Dexter Resurrection. First off, I just have to say how unbelievably happy I am that I didn't get spoiled for this episode. The amount of online sharing leaks, screenshots, and full clips before it even aired was ridiculous, and I was honestly expecting to have the entire thing ruined for me. Thankfully, I made it through clean and got to watch it fresh. That alone felt like a victory. Now on to my thoughts, and honestly I was disappointed by this one.
Disappointed!
Don't get me wrong, I still think it's a very good episode, but out of all the installments in Resurrection so far, this is probably my least favorite. It had some phenomenal moments, but it also had some stuff that really let me down. Now let's get into it. The episode opens not with Dexter but with Leon Prater immediately facing fallout from the impulsive murder of Angel Batista. His assistant calls him out directly, telling him how stupid his decision was, how reckless it looked, and how it jeopardized everything they've been building. I love this as an opener because it added tension right away. Instead of the show jumping straight into Dexter's predicament, we get this moment that grounds Prater as more than just a cartoon villain. He's powerful, yes, but also flawed and rash. The assistant pushing back, creating that unease in the room, made the whole situation feel more dangerous because it showed the cracks forming in Prater's control. From there, we shift to Dexter in the vault. Immediately delivers one of the best moments of the season. Dexter hallucinating a vision of Brian Wozer, the ice drug killer. This scene was phenomenal. Seeing Brian again taunting Dexter and digging into his psyche was such a powerful callback to the earlier seasons. It reminded me of just how much Brian's shadow was always lingered over Dexter, and it set the tone beautifully. From there, we cut to Harrison's infiltration plan. Dexter, using Batista's phone to reach out, manages to contact Harrison, and Harrison takes a job as a waiter at Prater's Jala in order to sneak inside. I thought this was a really clever setup, classic heist vibes, the son trying to save his father, and it created a good balance of tension and anticipation. Then comes the blackmail scene. Dexter finds Prater's files on serial killers, including the dossier on Charlie, and he chooses it as leverage. This forces Charlie, feeling betrayed, to walk out and leave with her mother. I thought this was a decent scene, but honestly, it felt a little unearned. Charlie's departure was written as a big moment, but it didn't feel like it had the weight it should have. Next, we hit the vault code showdown. Dexter deciphers the code using the inmate number of the man who killed Prater's parents, which was a smart, satisfying little detail, but of course, Prater ends up capturing both Dexter and Harrison. This sequence was insanely tension-filled, and probably my favorite part of the episode outside of Brian's return. What followed was gripping. Harrison given M99 by Dexter.
If you're spending the night there, you might want some protection.
Finally steps up, tranquilizing Prater and giving Dexter the chance to finish the job. The kill itself was awesome, brutal, and cathartic, with Dexter reclaiming his blood slides before triggering the alarm. But what really made this moment stand out to me was how unique the entire sequence felt compared to many of his past kills. When Dexter was closing in, there was this raw, almost childlike excitement radiating off of him, and I love that the writers leaned into that side of his dark passenger. The way he actually mimicked Prater's voice, mocking him in this exaggerated, gleeful tone, was such a brilliant and chilling touch, adding this layer of twisted humor to the brutality of the scene. Even the little detail of him putting his hands over his mouth in giddy excitement right before the strike made it clear that this wasn't just a kill for Dexter, it was an event he was savoring. And while I know some people didn't like how Prater came across as a crybaby in his last moments, I actually love that aspect of it. Seeing a man who held so much power all season completely break down and break for his life made the takedown even more impactful because it stripped away his false sense of superiority and left him exposed as nothing more than a coward. That contrast, combined with Dexter's gleeful cruelty, turned the scene into something so much more than a standard execution. It was brutal, satisfying, and filled filled with that twisted energy that reminded me exactly why I love watching Dexter in these kinds of moments. Meanwhile, the NYPD shows up at the gala, lured by the alarm and the constant sound of staying alive echoing through the event. They discover Batista's body, a murder weapon with Prater's prints, and a massive archive of serial killer evidence, including a file naming Don Praframto as the New Rock Reaper. This was a sad moment for me because I love Batista, and seeing him go out like that cold and lifeless on the floor was rough.
I loved you.
The final act sees Dexter dumping Prater's body into New York Harbor, a chilling callback to his Miami days. Seemed likely, bringing everything full circle. Then comes the voiceover, which ends with Dexter breaking the fourth wall, staring right into the camera and saying, "I used to wish that I could be different, normal, a life without my dark passenger, but who am I kidding? I'm Dexter Morgan. I'm exactly who I need to be, exactly who you want me to be." That knowing smile to the camera was chilling, meta, and just straight up thrilling. It was the perfect way to close the episode, and I absolutely loved that choice. But here's where my issues come in. First off, that detective character, I cannot stand her. She is so annoying, so uninteresting, and the fact that every time she's on screen, we hear staying alive makes it even worse. It's repetitive and obnoxious. Second, the show completely forgot about Dexter's friend character and their son, which was baffling. Why introduce them and then not even address them in such a major episode? Then there's the whole New York Reaper plotline. I've been waiting and wondering about that mystery for a while, and the fact that we didn't get closure here was frustrating. Leaving that hanging after building it up felt like a major letdown. And finally, Batista. When episode 9 ended with his death, I thought it was brilliant, but after seeing how it played out here, it honestly feels kind of late. Why bring him back only to kill him off like that? And why not let him and Dexter team up against Prater? That would have been badass and emotional, but instead they wasted the opportunity. His death feels unearned, and it really soured the storyline for me. So overall, while this episode touched on brilliant highs, Brian's return, the world of Showdown, and that fantastic ending, it also had some serious lows that left me disappointed. Still a good episode, but definitely the weakest of the season so far. That's it for my review of episode 10 of Dexter Resurrection. I'll be back tomorrow with my full season review, plus a ranking of all the seasons, all the episodes of Dexter Resurrection, and even my top 10 characters in the show, so stay tuned for that.